to look like Lexie Hull opens up about the future of the Indiana Fever under...
Fans of the Indiana Fever, you might want to settle in for this one. While everyone has been preoccupied discussing free agency moves, Lexie Hull recently revealed some significant information regarding what's going on behind the scenes with Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark, and let me tell you, it's not what anyone expected. Hull recently made a revelation that might completely alter the course of the Fever's forthcoming season.
About Stephanie White, the future to come, and we gotta talk Unrivaled because that is fascinating in and of itself.
But before we get started, consider why tickets are suddenly going out of stock more quickly than hot coffee on a chilly morning. Pay attention because this narrative is going to become crazy.
Even we're starting, was there a moment where it felt like this was finally happening? And again, was there any sort of off-season change? Was there anything that you were doing differently that helped this happen? Or does the ball just start going through the hoop for you?
I think, kind of how you mentioned earlier, just finding the rhythm, finding the confidence in game. Shooting 25 shots in a row in practice is different than getting your 4 looks in a game and not being able to knock them down and having the confidence.
Let's examine what Lexie Hull just disclosed because this isn't your normal player interview.
Stephanie White coming to town, and somebody who I had the privilege of covering in her last go-round. Which not coincidentally involved the Indiana Fever in the WNBA finals, right? So this is a winner. This is somebody who clearly knows how to take a team where it needs to go. Take me inside sort of what those initial conversations with her have.
This is a behind-the-scenes look at what may be the largest change in WNBA history. To begin, Hull was ecstatic while discussing Stephanie White's master plan, and you'll see why after hearing the specifics.
The 2025 season is how is the Indiana Fever going to look under new head coach Stephanie White. Now, Stephanie White is a proven winner. She done won in all levels of basketball, bro. Coaching, playing, it don't matter. She get the dubs, and I'm here to tell you that is definitely the expectation.
Let's begin with the apparent. Stephanie White isn't just any coach. We're talking about someone who has won at every level of basketball as a player, led Purdue to a national championship as a coach, and transformed struggling programs into contenders. However, Hull revealed some serious information about White's strategy for the Fever that's next level. White isn't just throwing plays at the wall and seeing what sticks. Instead, she has a detailed blueprint for each and every player on that roster, and by detailed, I mean that we're talking about precise skill development plans, position bios breakdowns, and a total overhaul of their offensive and defensive systems.
Where you're being told, I am going to get more of this playing time, more of this opportunity, and does that help feed your confidence as well?
I mean, honestly, I can't really pinpoint a moment. It was, I think, just I was given a chance in the game, and I hit a couple early ones, and then you get a couple more minutes, and you hit another one, and you get a couple more minutes. So it wasn't ever like I was told you're going to be playing today, make sure you take advantage of it. It was just, when you're sitting on that bench and you don't know when your number is going to be called, and when it finally is called, just trying to take advantage.
Let's examine Hull's remarks regarding her own role since they provide us with a wealth of information about White's meticulousness. White has already pinpointed the precise way she wants Hull to improve her game. We're not merely discussing small tweaks here. Rather, we're discussing a total overhaul of her style of play. If you're unfamiliar with basketball jargon, White wants Hull to become a 3-level scoring threat, which entails having the ability to score from 3 different spots at the rim, including mid-range and 3-point territory. What's intriguing, though, is how White intends to get her there.
Immediate reaction to her is she's a winner, and she will pull what's best out of everybody, and just very excited about the opportunity to learn from her. And obviously she's went to Purdue, played with the Fever, coached with the Fever. So she's a legend in Indianapolis. So excited to have her back and excited to just be able to completely dive in with her. And I think everyone's going to be really bought in, and just excited to see, how she tweaks things and her vision of how we can be better and individually.
How we start, they're working on Hull's post-up game. This is interesting because Hull isn't exactly known for her post-play, but White notices something there. She thinks, why aren't we using this more? Hull's size advantage over other guards is the kind of detail that distinguishes good coaches from great ones. Next, there's the development of the mid-range game. In today's WNBA, everyone is either shooting threes or getting to the rim, but White's going old school with a contemporary twist. She wants Hull to master the lost art of the mid-range jumper, which is giving the Fever's offense an extra dimension that most teams can't defend against.
That stands out more than anything is the roster. Who is Stephanie White going to put around Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and all of these other ballers that is currently on this team? Free agency is a must. They have to get veteran players that can come in and be plug and play.
This is where things start to become really intriguing. With Caitlin Clark's amazing shooting range and playmaking ability, it becomes even more hazardous to have players who can score from numerous regions. White is not only concentrating on individual skills, she is creating a system where every player complements each other. Hull also disclosed something else that caught my interest. White's focus on ensuring that each player on the court poses a scoring threat. This isn't just the coach. She's putting certain drills and scenarios into practice where players must make fast decisions with the ball and the goal so that every other player can make them pay when defenses focus on Clark, which they will. That's where the action gets really exciting. Hull stated that White is giving the club an entirely new defensive mentality. We're not just discussing simple tactics here. The WNBA is changing with players like Breanna Stewart and AIA Wilson who can score from anywhere, so it's imperative that White's defense can adjust quickly by switching between various looks several times in a single possession. Hull claims that White's strategy is intended to confuse opposition offenses while playing to each face strengths of the defender. Let's discuss the youth factor, since this is where White's strategy becomes quite astute. Most coaches would view the fact that the Fever have one of the youngest squads in the league as a negative, but White is using it to her advantage. A strategy that capitalizes on their excitement and youthful legs. Hull noted an intriguing aspect of White's practice format, which eschews protracted sessions. High-intensity game speed drills are conducted by Whites. Everything is completed quickly and with an emphasis on making decisions. They are getting ready for the fast-paced style of play required to compete with the league's top players under pressure. Hull also mentioned how she's already developing team chemistry through particular lineup combinations in practice. Rather than just putting 5 players out there and hoping it works, she's researching how various player combinations complement one another to strike the ideal balance between playmaking, defense, and scoring. Additionally, White is contributing something special from her prior coaching experiences. According to Hull, White is combining aspects of her experience coaching in college with the professionals to create a hybrid system that utilizes both styles. This is essential because it facilitates young players' easier transition to the professional ranks while preserving the originality and adaptability that make the WNBA unique and possibly the most captivating. Hull made an announcement regarding their long-term vision, which goes beyond the WI games for the upcoming season. White is laying the groundwork for a long-term strategy that can change as their young players grow, one that might make them contenders for years to come. What sets good teams apart from great ones is their attention to detail, and Hull's enthusiasm for the shooting drills was especially evident. In addition to having players practice random shots, she also creates game-specific scenarios to ensure that every shot they practice is one they'll actually take in games. The program's condition. White's implementation is also noteworthy. According to Hull, it's unlike anything she's ever experienced, since it's not just about being in shape. Rather, it's about being in the correct kind of shape for their particular style of play. Every exercise and drill is planned with their strategy and long-term goals in mind. Hull's revelation regarding White's vision demonstrates that the Fever are working to transform WNBA basketball and not just win games. They are creating something that has the potential to completely transform the league, and they are doing so by combining youthful talent with seasoned leadership. What's even more exciting is that this is only the beginning. Hull alluded to certain elements of White's proposal that have not yet been made public, but given what is now known, Indiana's future now that Fever basketball is looking better than ever, things start to become pretty intriguing. Instead of only hinting at success, Hull outright stated that they were aiming for a championship. Before you dismiss this as just another player being overconfident, allow me to explain why this assertion has significant merit. Let's start by discussing what Hull disclosed about their current standing. She mentioned something that many people seem to forget. The Fever defeated almost every team in the league the previous season. That's not just talk, it's evidence that they can compete at the highest level. What's even more intriguing is how Hull explained why they're even more positioned for success now. The ticket situation she described is simply incredible and provides us with all the information regarding the team's trajectory. Hull stated that her family is already fighting over the 2 tickets she receives for each game. But this isn't just about family support, it's a microcosm of what's going on throughout Indiana. There are several reasons why we should dissect the change that is occurring, and the Fever is quickly becoming the most sought-after ticket in town. Hull's discussion of the Indiana roots is especially intriguing. She talked about how the state's basketball culture isn't just a backdrop but is becoming an essential part of their identity. Hull revealed that the energy around the team is completely different now. It's not just about Kay and Clark coming to town, though that's obviously huge. Instead, it's about the perfect alignment of talent coaching and community support that's happening right now. Not only is it a charming tale, but Stephanie White, who was a Purdue University player and former Fever coach, has a strategic edge in Indiana basketball. Hull also shared some intriguing details about how the team is getting ready for the upcoming season. They aren't just honing their skills, they are developing a deeper bond with the community. She explained that their goal isn't just to sell out the stadium, it's to create an environment that gives them a genuine home court advantage. The level of practice intensity she described says a lot. Teams frequently discuss championship attitude, but Hull explained how they're developing it. Every practice and scrimmage is planned with championship standards in mind. They're not trying to compete, rather, they're getting ready to dominate. This is important. While everyone is talking about Hull's offensive potential, the team is quietly developing a defensive identity that could be just as important with Clark joining the team. They're not just trying to outscore teams, they're working to stop them too. Hull's discussion of the team's young core is particularly interesting. She talked about how they're not just talented but genuinely enjoy playing together. That may sound simple, but in professional sports, it's rarer than you'd think when players genuinely like each other. They play harder for one another. Let's talk about the market impact. When you mix a bright young core with a seasoned coach and a fervent fan base, Hull intimated that the Fever aren't just becoming a good team, they're becoming a destination club that players from all across the league are watching what's happening in Indiana. That is the type of scenario that players want to be a part of. Hull's remarks regarding the team's ceiling were especially telling. She didn't merely state that they might have a strong season or make the playoffs. She specifically mentioned hardware, which is championship talk, and it has weight coming from someone who is typically fairly measured in her remarks. The practice facility improvements she cited demonstrate the organization's dedication